Okay, I think we're recording now. My name is Kenny Oguero. I am a senior chemical engineering student here at the University of Alabama. I also serve as the FE exam student ambassador. Really serving as a liaison between our school and the NCEES, or the National Council for Engineering Licensing and Surveying. I'm here just giving a little presentation on the importance of getting your PE license, as well as why it's important to take the FE exam early and early as you can. First, engineering licensure from point A to point PE. Y'all think that's funny? Point A to point PE. Yeah, I told you it was lame too, but they didn't listen to me. Whatever. Now, first off, your future. Right? Here's a representative that we had, one of the senior associates and engineers, who said that the best advice that she can give to engineering is to become a PE. And for a lot of majors, that is really important. For some, it's kind of just like a necessary next step, just because it's along the pathway. For others, it's a little bit out the way, but you learn really quickly what you do and what you not to do, and it's important for you to prep early. But first off, it's important to ask, what is the PE, right? What are you studying? How close are you to graduation? Have you taken the FE exam already? If not, it's something you should consider. And that's really the main part of my portion of this presentation to go over. Now, first, what do you want to do when you graduate, right? What do you want to do? What do you want to see yourself in 5, 10, 20 years from now? Like, where do you want to go? Do you have an idea of what you want to do? Most people really don't. I barely do, and I'm about to leave campus myself, right? So it's important to really establish early on, as good a foundation as you can, because the later you go onto it, it's a little hard to make decisions that affect the trajectory of your life after, right? So it's hard to really understand the value of getting licensure in the future. What do firms look to when they hire at first? Right? They're looking for degrees that stands out. They look for work references. They look for technical skills. And now it's important to understand that, is there an easy way to tell if someone has the experience qualifies necessary to provide all these experiences? And one of the best ways to do that is through getting your license. Now, licensure is a universal standard, right? The PE isn't the only license you can get. If you think of people in the medical field doing their MCAT, people as nurses, people as accountants, lawyers, right? Yes, you can go to school and get a little bit of education, but the licensure is the best way to say that this person has the experience and the education necessary to do their job, right? Just like most of these positions here, including accountants, attorneys, and physicians, these are people that, if they do something wrong, can affect someone's life majorly. And the same thing for engineering. As engineers, one of the things that's important is that anything that we touch has a chance to affect someone's quality of life and future. So it's important that if you're going to hire someone to do a job, to make sure that they can do it right, and that they have the experience and education behind it that's necessary to provide that. Ooh, I have this video. I wonder if it's actually going to play though.
I'm a current senior
Oh
here
my
at
gosh.
the university studying mechanical engineering, and I took the FE exam back in January. Some of the doors the FE exam has opened for me is not only just internship opportunities that you take a little earlier. Immediately, I was able to post it to LinkedIn, and personally, I got a couple people reach out to me and they were saying, "Hey, we've seen some of your other work. We know that you have this certification now. Let's have a little talk." And it's really just, you can say that, hey, you're taking the FE, or even if you're in engineering training, once you submit all documentation, you have that title. People know that you can be competent, you can work for them, and you can build skills with them.
I probably have 3 other videos to go through in this presentation. It's mainly just to kind of cut the amount of time I'm talking straight to you. So that was the first of them. Now, what's the point is the PE license. Does anyone know, provided this, what the PE license is? Perchance? A little bit. Okay. The PE license is the license that you get as a professional engineer, right? It shows that you have the education, the experience, and the technical expertise to lead as a professional engineer. It's also an obligation to safeguard the public, similar to what you get out of the Iron Ring, or when med students take their medical license and they say, oh, like ethical, like the ethical parts of the plurality. Now, it works in both ways. When you get your PE, you stand out in the crowd, right? Just because now you're trusted to protect the health, safety, and public welfare of the public. They meet the requirements of their state. They have progressive experience, and they have to have passed 2 of the exams. Now, who's in charge of the PE and the FE is the NCESS, which is the program I'm representing. And I have this other video here, but I kind of want to skip it because it doesn't I feel like I can cover as much information, so I want to go directly into the PE. The importance of the PE, the benefits is that it really opens career doors. There's only so high much you can go with just a bachelor's degree, especially when it's just engineering. Once you get to a certain ceiling, there's usually two paths people go to break past that. It's either one, they go into the business route, or two, they get their PE so they can continue to work as an engineer. Now, professional engineers can own a firm, they can consult, they can sign and seal a design, they can bid for public money, and they can advertise your services as a professional engineer itself. Now, when you get a style and a seal, this is really important for designs as well, because when someone makes a design, you get to essentially put your seal in it and say, hey, me as a professional engineer, I put my seal in it to guarantee that this design matches all the qualifications and it's not gonna do something that's gonna break down or wrong. Essentially saying that you're signing off on this as a final design, as a professional expert in your field, and you're saying that this design is functional and it's gonna work. Right? As a PE, your resume really stands out in front of anyone else's, and you can typically earn more than a lot of your peers when you have a PE or even just your FE exam. Would you like to talk more about the PE, Dr. Toll?
Just looking at that picture. First of all, I'm Glenn Tootle. I think I may have had some of y'all before. Just give you a little bit of background. I call myself the non-academic academic. And the reason I do that is because I spent, I don't want to say now, because I've been doing this job for about 20 years. For a while there, I was a consulting engineer for longer than I was. I did it for about 12 or 13 years. And the thing I want to bring out, I talked to the class last night about this as far as our 104 course is, I went back to school very late in life and did a PhD. It took me 3 years. And if I had to rank on my pride list, the PhD is way down at the bottom. I'm no smarter or dumber than I was in high school. I just took 3 years out of my life and was a poor college student again. All right. But one of the things I'm most proud of is being a licensed engineer and going through the process. And because it wasn't something that just took 3 years and writing 3 or 4 papers. Okay, it took the time of what y'all are doing right now, obtaining a degree in engineering from an accredited program. Y'all probably were here for the madness of the fall where all of our college was reaccredited by ABET. So you are going to graduate from the University of Alabama with an ABET accredited degree in engineering. That's check number one. Number two, I was just looking at my calendar. That's why I was distracted a little bit. I was thinking, which when you're almost 64, you're lucky to, have shoes on. Almost to the day, I took the FE exam 41 years ago. Okay. Now we had it a lot easier when I took the exam. And I don't want to say this as far as the term academic misconduct, but we almost cheated because we were civil and environmental engineer. I was civil engineer. Why? The exam 41 years ago was one exam. Okay? The mechanicals, the chemicals in here, the electricals, y'all were at a huge disadvantage because the exam was very tailored for civil engineers. Okay? So we had a real advantage taking that exam, which is probably the only reason why I got through it the first time. All right. Now it's segregated. So it's very designed for your specific discipline and such as that. So that's going to be the second thing. And y'all being here are doing the right thing. I'll shut up because I know you got a lot to talk about. And I do have to leave about 1:45. The great equalizer or the great thing that will put you at the top of the stack or the top now of the emails and looking for a job is the FE. I, again, worked in private consulting for 13 years. If I had a kid that applied for a job that had a 2.8 with the FE versus a 3.8 without the FE, I'm hiring a kid with a 2.8 with the FE. It's that simple. Because that kid, that person, that student put professional registration at the top. And it is an absolute must, certainly, in civil, environmental, architectural, and construction engineering, mechanical. Everyone in here should want to get a PE. And so the first step is you're already doing it. You're getting a degree from an accredited program. And the second thing is what y'all are doing right now and being in here and trying to figure out what you need to do to be successful and pass that FE. Do it while you're in school. because it gets harder and harder to pass the FE once you get out of school, because it is FE fundamentals. It is the fundamentals that y'all are doing right now in your courses. Okay. Do it while you're in school. All right. And then you go into the world of a state license. State licenses vary. I can only talk about civil. All right. It's a state by state license. Your ABET accredited degree can go anywhere in the country. Your FE that you'll take and pass here can go anywhere in the country. Many of y'all are student advised now, about 60% or more out of state. Don't feel like you're doing it here in Alabama. You got to stay in Alabama if you want to go somewhere else. That moves. Wherever you go, when you now go for the PE, that is a state license. Okay. Each state is a little bit different. Okay. It used to be back in the dark ages, dinosaurs were roaming, and I was doing this process. It was 4 years with a bachelor's. I went straight through and did a master's. It was 3 years, and then I could set for the PE. I had to have 3 years of experience working for a licensed engineer. That licensed engineer, he or she, would sign off for me that I worked for them and gained design experience under a licensed engineer. It's changed. State of Alabama, once you pass the FE, you go take PE. And if you pass it, are you a PE? No. You still got to accrue time working under a licensed engineer before they will actually grant you your seal to where you can practice engineering. Okay. I'll shut up after this. I can give y'all a million reasons to do it. The easiest one is money. Okay. You will not promote I had 2 careers before I started academics. I was a consulting engineer for 13 years and overlapped with that for 25 years. I was in the military. I was a United States Navy Civil Engineer Corps officer, Navy CB. You could only go to 04 in the Navy CBs or in the Navy Civil Engineer Corps if you do not have a PE. You cannot go to the 05, 06, and above. Okay, so many government agencies are the same thing. ALDOT, federal agencies. There's only so many GS 13, whatever position you can go up if you do not have that license if you're in an engineering position. And what does that mean to go up? It means more income. All right. So again, that's a great motivator, okay, for doing it. You will gain responsibility, and again, you will stand out and you can get through that. I'll shut up.
You don't have anything you wanted to say? It was a lot of information. I mean, we're gonna cover a lot of that in the slides, so it's good for them to have at least a good introduction. All right, first, the steps of getting from point A to point PE. So funny. Ooh, yeah, we can watch this video. It's gonna load.
In order to become a professional engineer, there are 3 basic steps you must take, often called the 3 E's: education, experience, and exams. While each state licensing board has its own licensure laws, the general 3-step process for licensure candidates is the same. The first step is education. Most states require candidates to have a bachelor's degree from a program that is EAC, ABET accredited. The second step is experience. Some states require 4 years of progressive and verifiable work experience in your field. Some jurisdictions may require that you work under direct supervision of a professional engineer or have PE work references. It is important that you keep track of work experiences and work references during this period so that you can meet experience requirements. The third step is exams. State boards require licensure candidates to pass 2 exams, the FE and the PE exam. These exams are a uniform measurement of knowledge that all states require. Candidates typically take the FE in their senior year of college or right after graduation. The FE exam tests the knowledge that you gain while in school. The more time passes after college, the harder it gets to remember. Next comes the PE exam. It's more practice-oriented than the FE exam. It covers less academic knowledge and more practical knowledge you'll get through your work experience. Once you pass both exams and have the requisite experience, you are eligible to be a professional engineer.
This is the summary of what I'm about to talk about a lot more. First step, education. Generally, you do require an A accredited bachelor's degree. Luckily, like you mentioned before, we went through the mess of re-accrediting last fall, so you don't have to worry about this degree from here at least. I know this is also a big requirement for those that are like international students that get their degree somewhere else. Have to have the education reconfirmed by the board, but that's not really a word that we have for the students here, like the degree from here. The second is experience. You must be able to demonstrate acceptable, progressive, and verifiable work experience, which is usually around 4 years, or for some, it can be 3 years with a master's degree in the same engineering field that you're in. And this is, of course, 4 years of acceptable, progressive experience, which you usually get from working under a licensed engineer because they will assign you the work experience provided. Now, you can also get it without having to work under a licensed engineer. It's just going to be a lot longer because you can't guarantee all the work that you do under an engineer that's not licensed is going to be available and practical for this experience. So it's always recommended to be able, if you want to get your PE, to find a licensed engineer that can work under so they can assign you experience that will be beneficial and will actually go towards getting your PE. There's a really big requirement for some people that do interviews when you're interviewing with the company. Some things, especially if you know you want to get your PE, one big thing to ask is always, do you have a PE or a licensed engineer on your board that I can work under, I can mentor under? That way I can start to get your PE and experience. And sometimes companies will hear that and they'll think, wow, I really want this person now because they're on the path that you want to provide them for. The third is the exams, the FE exam and the PE exam. The FE exam is based off of your 4 years of A-better accredited education, and the PE exam is based off work experience that you get outside of your education itself. Now, the FE exam is what I'm mainly here to talk about. The FE exam itself is 7 freestanding discipline-specific exams. Yes, before it was just one, but now we have 7 different ones. If you see your major up there, congratulations, you have a better chance of passing the exam now. If not, you probably fall under other disciplines, but I think most people here, you can probably pick one of the ones up there that'll line more towards your favor. And these 7 do fall in chemical, civil, computer, electrical, environmental, industrial systems, mechanical, and other disciplines. Now down here I have a link to the examinee guide that has a lot more information about the specifications of each exam. And I'll go through that a little later after I go through these slides. Now, each exam consists of 110 exam questions. These are 2 sections, section 1 and section 2, and between the 2 sections, there's a break in the middle, about 25 minutes. The entire exam time that you have to take the exam is 5 hours, 20 minutes long. And what's really important is that between these 2 exams, all you have access to is the entire time. So which means you can get through the first section and you have to stop for your break and you go to the second section, but there's at no point does it limit you to a certain time for each section. Now, for the question types that you can find available on the exam, it's usually made of these 5 options, but most of the time it's going to be the first one being multiple choice, just being one correct answer. The other 4 can also include multiple correct options, point and click, drag and drop, and fill in the blank, but these are not as common as that first option. And I'll also look through the reference handbook, which is like your open note to this open book exam, right? This reference handbook will have all the equations that you need, all the topics that you'll cover. Yes.
Is the 110 exam questions that for 110 each or over the course of the 2 sections?
Over the course of 2 sections.
Okay.
And it's not exactly split between 55 each. Sometimes it can be 60-something, 40-something, whatever. What's most important is that once you complete one section, you start your break, you can't go back, right? So you do one section, you finish it out, then you start your second section. Now, registering for the FE exam itself. To register for the FE exam, you need to create an account on mynces.org, and then you can go through the acceptable exams from the dashbook. And then when you do, you can get approval by selecting your state board and acknowledging certain state information in the attestations, as well as you can also apply for your credit lead badge, where you can put you on your LinkedIn. You can apply here for grad honor records, and they'll send it here to the school, as well as sign up for any practice exam or any accommodations that you need for the exam day. I'll go through this a little bit more when I actually open the website and walk you through it.
I'm a current senior at Clemson University studying biosystems engineering, and I took FE exam. Even though I'm headed to graduate school and pursuing research opportunities, getting my master's there, I think the FE is still very, very important. Whether research, going to workforce, government agencies, I think the FE is a solid curriculum recognized nationally, and I think that everybody understands its worth. They understand employers graduate professionals understand how important it is and how it certifies you to have a solid background in engineering principles.
Now, scheduling the FE exam. The FE exam is, you can schedule the FE exam year round. There's not really a time that we don't offer the examination period unless it's just like a holiday. What's really important is that you only take it once during an authorization period. This is January through March, April through June, July to September, October to December, which means you only take it once in this span of the months. So let's say you want to take it March in the next 6 days of the month left, and say you don't pass it, you can choose to take it again in April to June. But let's say you wait till April and you don't pass, you have to wait again until July to even try to take it again. So this is just in terms of when you want to schedule the exam in the future. If you feel like you need a little more time to prep, then you may decide to take it during a different month or to have some time between a few months or two exams. What's also important is that you can't take it more than 3 times in a 12-month period, which means if you somehow take it in March, June, and August, and you don't pass, you have to wait again until next January to try to take it again. So it's very beneficial if you can kind of take the time to prep for it so you don't have to wait another full year to take it again, which means pushing back for some people on potential raises, potential grade offerings, as well as potential time to actually work to get your PE. Now, the entire exam appointment is 6 hours long. Like I said before, the exam time itself you have is 520 minutes. But outside of that, when you first get in there, you have to take the time to kind of explore the website, including signing a non-disclosure agreement, which is just saying that you understand that you're about to take the exam and you're not going to be academically dishonest. Then you have about 8 minutes to go through a tutorial that shows you how to walk through the actual exam website itself, because this is a computer-based exam. So it shows you how to walk through the time, how to use the handbook, how to use the calculator, how to go through bookmark saved questions, all the good online test taking strategies you need, as well as a scheduled break between that first and second section that is about 25 minutes long. I'll talk a little bit more after breaks later. The FE exams can only be taken at approved Pearson VUE test centers. And will anyone guess where the test center here on campus is? Can anyone guess? Just show of hands. Anyone want to take a stab at it? No, it's not H.
It's right here. It's right next door. Right?
Next door where?
I forgot the hall. It's like really close to here. I took the GMAT 2 months ago in the Pearson Center.
You forgot the name? You forgot the name? Hauser. There we go. It is in Hauser Hall, room 2040. So it's partially the second floor. That's where we take a lot of the exams. I know a lot of people take their MCAT there, take the GMAT, and the GRE there as well. So I think the first floor is disabilities. The second floor is going to be the testing centers. And the third floor is VA, I believe. But you take it over in Hauser Hall. So just that's where you know when you take it, if you try to sign up to take it here. Of course, the FE exam is available across the nation. So if you try to go home and take it instead during the time when you're not in school, you can just find somewhere near where you live and take it there instead. Now, FE exam needs must register on the website for the testing date and the appointment time. And here, specifically at UA, at least according to, or give this information last semester, it's only available on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. But there's open between on Wednesdays and Fridays when it is possible, but that's something you have to sign up for on the website or talk to the Pearson Review Centers themselves. You can also access the testing services website at testing.ua.edu for any extra information you need about the site in particular that won't be available on the website. Now, the exam day itself. Items you will probably need to bring is a valid McGovern issue ID, something that has your name and your face that matches the registration that you signed up with, an acceptable calculator to test with, and there's lists of acceptable calculators that are available on the NCES website. Now, there's also a calculator on the test software as well, but it's just like a 4-bit, and it's probably worse than the 260 Casio that we have to use. So I highly recommend finding and bringing your own calculator. I know it's been really big since I was a freshman. That's not something that we ever use for our classes, but I know there's starting to become a shift towards using more calculators that are approved for NCES. And a lot of the coursework, that way you can get more prepared for having a calculator that you're comfortable using for the FEAP exams.
Yeah, and I'll add right now with our new, the 101, 104, I think y'all had probably 121, 103 going through the program. For 104, the calculators required, we have just adopted the calculators for the FE. So we're trying to get the students now programmed to where Of course, that can change. They do change the list of calculators. But a great suggestion is look at the calculators that are there, that are available, or that are allowed, and use one of those calculators. Get used to that because the speed on the exam that will be critical. So don't walk in there and buy the calculator 2 days before and walk in there and do the exam because you're using something else. Practice.
And I recommend checking this list early because I just talked to someone that took it over spring break and they walked it with a normal calculator and they turned out they couldn't use it. So they had to use the one on the screen and they said that it was not fun at all. So I highly recommend checking the calculator policy. It's pretty important. And hopefully we can get the math department to switch as well. So I'm so tired of this small one. Another big thing is scratchbook material. When you're taking the exam itself, you do get 2 reusable booklets, and they're both about 9 pages each of just scratch sheet of paper where you can just write and work on, as well as 3 markers provided by the testing center. Now, what's really important about these booklets is that you only get 1 booklet at a time. You get the first booklet, you fill it out, you get another one, that first booklet goes away. So if there's anything that you wrote on the first book that you're going to need for the rest of the exam that you feel like you're going to need, I recommend just taking a muscle note of it and rewriting it. You get that second booklet because once you get that first booklet done with, you're not going to get it back if you try to get a second. Some people just forget about that and then they're in the middle of the exam and they realize, oh, I wrote something down earlier that I could have used on an earlier problem and now it's gone. Now I have to find it again. Just early warning. Now, there's also test accommodations and approved cover items that you can find on the Pearson VUE Comfort Aid list. I recommend checking this list out for just accommodations because I know there's some accommodations here that you may not be available for. But I think on this list there's stuff like noise cancellation headphones. And it's just like, if that's something just comfort side that you just want to have with you, if you feel like it's going to help you test better, no point in bringing that if you really want to. There's also lockers available in the testing center for any personal item that you bring. If you want to bring any snacks, any medicine, any just water bottles, stuff like that, just keep your bag in there. And you can access that during the break, at least during, as long as it's not on your phone, you can access that during the break. You just have to raise your hand. Or during your scheduled break, you can access those as well. Speaking of breaks, there's one big break in between the first and second section, which is 25 minutes long, and it's scheduled, right? You're allowed to leave the building during the scheduled break time, and you don't have to use all the time, but anytime that you go over, it's not going to be loaded back. Which means the moment that you stop that first section, you say you want to take that break, your time starts moving. So you have 25 minutes to do whatever you want. I always tell people that, hey, if that first part of those first 60 questions just gave you a bad headache, go outside and touch some grass. Go take in some sun, go for a walk, go get some ice cream at Chick-fil-A if you need. Anything you do to kind of help you calm down and get ready for the second section. Or if you feel like that you're just on fire and you're doing great and you want to go straight to the second section, you can. Go ahead, be my guest. Now, you can also take unscheduled breaks during your actual examining period, during the actual sections, but the exam time's not going to be paused. So anytime you pause, that time's still going to be running, and you're also not allowed to leave the building during this time. But you can still ask certain personal items, if it's any food or beverages that you bring, any snacks, any hygiene products, or any medication that you have to take during a certain time. So you don't have to feel like you got to take all your medicine before the break. You can always take it during one of these scheduled breaks for a quick little 5 minutes, feel like you have the time to. And you don't have to worry about it being too detrimental to your actual exam time.
Ooh. I am a senior at the University of Rochester. I am a mechanical engineer major, and I plan on taking the FE exam. Just heard a lot about how you can take the FE and bring it onto your career helps out a lot with your resume. I was going to manufacturing, which might turn into me going into design, and honestly, the FE exam really helps with that. It's a nice classification I can do that really can go far if I really want to take it that far based on where I go. But it's something very simple I can just do right now while I'm still in school mode.
Speaking of school mode, when should you take the FE? Right, great question. What we also recommend that you take is sometime between about 6 months before you graduate to at latest a year after. Once you stay out of school for about a year, you start to kind of lose some of that test-taking skills, some of the knowledge you gained over the past 4 years. You've been here. Particularly, here's some average passing rates from about 2014 to 2023, where if you're taking it before graduation, you still have about 72% chance of passing the exam versus 12 months within graduation, which is not too different. And then 12 months after graduation, it drops. And you can imagine 5-10 years after that, and you're in your 30s and you feel like, hey, now I actually need to break past the ceiling, and you can pass your P exam with flying colors. You have all the experience. But trying to think back to your 4 years of engineering school that were 10 years prior to that, you're a little stuck. That's all I can say. I know a lot of engineers that will be in the situation and they'll decide not to get the FPE license in the first place just because they can't pass the FE exam. Now, this of course is the one reason I'm here is to kind of encourage people to take it as soon as you can because the FE exam never goes away. You don't have to retake the FE exam. You take it now and it's still valid 10, 20 years from now later. So you don't have to worry about having to relearn a lot of this information. And a lot of this information also not going to be in the P exam either. So you pass it now, it shows that you at least got the education at some point, and it's really just beneficial for setting that foundation for later on.
I have one thing. Again, the PE is a state-by-state license. There are some states that you graduate from the accredited degree or program, and you have that degree, and you can obviously set or take the FE. They will allow you to take PE and the FE back-to-back days. Again, it was different, a little bit different on Fridays and the FEs. Why am I telling you this story? There's many, many cases of when individuals wait to take the FE, put it off, that they blow through and destroy and crush the PE and can't pass the FE. And guess what? You're not a PE. You may have passed the exam, you still have to pass the FE exam. Okay? And there's a lot of horror stories about that. The engineer I worked with had one that finally, on the 6th try, got through the FE. Fabulous engineer. Passed PE, could not get through that FE. Why? Forget this stuff. It's fundamentals. It's what it says it is. So do what you're doing now. That's why y'all are here. Y'all are not the challenge. The challenge are the ones that are not in this room. Okay, y'all care. So take the time and prep and get through it while you're in school or immediately after you leave.
I mentioned before, you can only take it three times for a 6-month period. You did a 12-month period, which means he probably had to do 2-3 years until he could get your PE. That's 2-3 years of promotion. That's 2-3 years of extra money. That's 2-3 years of a position that you could be way ahead of yourself and you put yourself behind because you decided not to take it.
And that is a nice advantage. Again,
It's a nice
40
advantage.
years ago, it was offered twice a year. So you basically either took it spring semester or fall semester. And you were herded in rooms because it was all paper and all that. Now you have a big advantage that being electronic, as stated, you can take it up to 3 times in 1 year. You have your little 3-month windows, much more opportunities to pass the exam.
All right. Big questions that we offer. First, does the NCC offer practice exam materials? We have practice exams that are available on our website. For those that have probably seen it beforehand, some practice exam booklets that we used to offer got discontinued a few years ago. So not all our practice exams that are approved by the SCES are on our website. Doesn't mean you can't find other practice exam materials online, whether that's YouTube or Google or on Amazon. It's just that we can only guarantee that the ones that are on our website are going to be the most accurate to what's going to be on the actual P and FE exams. That's why we always recommend at least to consider those before you consider anything else. And what is exam day like? I'm going to play a quick little video after I go through these slides, just to going through exam day and signing in and going through the system, as well as more information can be available on the website, which I'm going to go through as well in a little bit. Now, a big picture is just keeping your eyes on the target, right? There's a lot of resources available here, both on campus and off campus, to make sure that you're able to pass the exam and have all the knowledge you need for the exam itself. So feel free to reach out to any of your professors and the department and the CCS, because we as well from the SCES want to help you out as much as we can. So always feel free to reach out and ask questions when you want to. That's about it. Oh, some of my demos I'm going to go through. The first one, I'm going to go through the website real quick. Actually, no, play this video instead.
All NCEES exams are
Ooh, wait. Let me stop presenting. There we go.
delivered at approved Pearson VUE test centers. You should plan to arrive at the test center 30 minutes prior to your scheduled appointment. You will complete several admissions and check-in procedures before you begin testing. Upon arrival, you will first be asked to review the NCEES exam rules and agreement. Next, a Pearson VUE representative will notify you to begin your admissions process. All examinees must provide a current, government-issued photo ID. Digital IDs are not accepted. Once your identity is verified, you will provide your digital signature to confirm that you have read the rules and agree to abide by them. A scanner will use a near-infrared light source to scan the veins in your palm. This information is used to prevent anyone else from testing under your identity. Your photo will also be taken. You will store your personal belongings in a locker or other secure area. You are only allowed to have the following items in the testing room: your ID, an NCEES approved calculator, your locker key, eyeglasses, and a light jacket or sweater. Now that you have completed the admissions process, you will proceed to the testing room. Report to the Pearson VUE exam proctor, who will ask you to confirm your identity by providing a palm vein scan. A scan is required each time you enter and exit the testing room. The proctor will check for personal items each time you enter the testing room. You will be asked to show that nothing is concealed in your sleeves. You will then turn out your pockets and run your hands around your waistline and down your legs. The proctor will review the test set rules, escort you to your assigned workstation, and launch your exam. You will receive a reusable booklet and marker for scratch work, which will be collected at the end of your exam. Before starting your exam, you are required to read and agree to the NCEES non-disclosure agreement and complete a brief tutorial on the functionality of the computer-based exam. Your exam is divided into two sections. The sections are not individually timed, and you will be given your entire exam time at the beginning of your exam. Manage your time accordingly. After completing, reviewing, and submitting the first section, you will be prompted to take a scheduled break. If you wish to take the break, you should raise your hand and wait for the proctor to assist you. The exam timer will pause during the scheduled break. You may take less than the designated amount for your scheduled break. However, any remaining break time will not extend the amount of time remaining for exam questions. Unscheduled breaks may be requested at any time during the exam by following the same procedure. However, the examinees should be aware that the exam timer will not stop during an unscheduled break. You are allowed to access your locker during both scheduled and unscheduled breaks. However, while on an unscheduled break, you may only access food and beverages. You may not exit the building during an unscheduled break. After completing the exam, you should raise your hand. The proctor will verify you have properly ended your exam and then escort you from the testing room. You will receive a verification of testing letter that includes your name, photo, and the name of the exam you entered. This letter serves as your confirmation of testing. You will not receive any type of score before leaving the test center. Instead, look for an email from NCEES within 7 to 10 days notifying you that your results are available for viewing in your My NCEES account. If you require accommodations, you must request them during the exam registration process. Reasonable exam accommodations are available for examinees who meet certain eligibility criteria and sufficiently document their request. For additional information regarding your exam, please review the examinee guide located on the NCEES website.
Okay, that video just kind of went through a lot of.
I do have to sneak out. First of all, thank y'all for being in here and doing this. I can only speak to the civils, environmentals, architectural, construction. This Saturday from 8 to, I think, 10 or 11, there's a practice exam. If you want to register for that, it is, you need to go by the civil office. You got till 5 o'clock today to register for it. If you score 70% or above on that exam, they'll pay for your real exam. So you get it for free. So again, you can scan that. I guess if you want to show up and just to take an exam, if you're an ME or others, you can. And the second thing is, I don't know if you have the other one, all junior, seniors, and grad students in civil, environmental, et cetera, are registered on our Blackboard site for materials. So we have materials for them. Again, I'm sure if you're an ME or other and you're interested to see what it is, then you're glad to have you. Yeah, I apologize, I have to leave a little bit early. I got to run across campus. Thanks for, good luck with the exam. Thank you.
Of course. I'm gonna go through a few little demos. First off, here is what the website looks like when you pull it up. It's just ses.org. Here you can see a lot more information about why licensure matters, some of the services that we provide, including the records program and credential tracking, as well as some information about the exams itself. Now, the FE exam, right here, the fundamental engineering exam, find more information about this, including where to find certain testing centers, the cost payable for the exam itself, some more information about the exam, some accommodations, as well as some particulars of registrations per state. Now, the FE exam is national. The P exam will have some state-specific board members that you have to apply to. Like I think in California, there's like an extra portion for like seismic for all across all the P exams over there, but that's not something that you'll find here, right? So that's just for your PE. But for your FE, it's good nationally, so you don't have to worry about that. And there's a lot more exam-specific information about each exam if you have any questions that you can find on the website itself. Now, here's some more exam material, including our examinee guide right here, as well as any extra prep, any accommodations, military exceptions, calculator policy, and more stuff. Now, examinee guide, this is what kind of looks like. It's a few pages long, and it just talks a lot more about more definition I want today. One of my biggest things that I don't really have on my slides is diagnostic report. When you get your report back, here's a kind of simple diagnostic report that will show the different categories for all the exams, the categories that you take, as well as some of the scores that you performed on. This is kind of what it looks like in terms of what you'll get when you're actually there. It shows the knowledge areas, the number of items for each of those questions, and your performance on a scale of 0 to 15, and it compared to the average of examinees. I think here also shows if you pass or fail, and just more information about that. So I highly recommend going through the exam guide sometime before you take the exam itself, just to get a reminder of what we talked about today, as well as any more information that I probably haven't covered in my own slideshow. And if you want to take a quick screenshot of that, you can. Okay. Now, what's really important is my NCES. You come here and click up here, and this is where you go to register for your P and FE exams, for your grad course, for your past exams. All that stuff is done through this account. You go to mynces.org, and you log in. We usually recommend logging in with your personal email because this is going to follow you the rest of your life. So you probably shouldn't use your crypto.edu. I already have my person in here, so I'm going to go ahead and log in really quickly. And then this is what the dashboard looks like when it loads. Now here you'll have your own personal ID that registers to you as well as your name. And on this comment task, you can choose here to register for an exam, to get a practice exam, for any for more exam schedules, any exam day policies. You can get the examinee guide again here, the calculator policy again, and as well as the reference handbooks. The reference handbooks themselves, like I said before, this reference handbook is what you're using on the exam itself. Unless you can say that if this big board is the computer screen, the computer monitor, one half of the exam is going to be the exam itself, and the other half is going to be this handbook, right? This is the open book to this exam, and it's going to have all the equations and references you need, and now it's up to 10.5. I don't know why I don't have it downloaded on here already. You can download it on the dashboard, and it is about 500-some pages long, but of course, this is a PDF on your experience. This is all easily searchable, and there's different categories, including this is used for all FE exams. So there's all the basics in terms of unit conversion, the ethics of practice and safety, but you get lower. Some of the stuff you're not going to need, and especially these are like engineering specific ones. Like I say, I'm chemical engineering. I can go down here. I can find stuff that I've been doing all my classes, right? And you can do the same thing for each of these majors. And this is what you have in terms of your open book. It's stuff like periodic tables, equations. So if there's something that you feel like you missed or an equation that you need to pull out, I guarantee it's probably going to be in here, right? So I recommend that if you are studying for this exam, to use this on your side. That's so you understand what equations and assets you have towards when you actually take the exam itself. And some people don't really like to go on and re-download it every time. So one of the items I have here up here on my goodies table is I have these USBs that have handbooks. These are going to be the most updated version of that or one version before that. And essentially it's all the same good information, but now it's in a card-sized USB, so you can choose to carry this around if you'd rather have something like this instead, or if you just want to take it if you want. And then last thing is practice exams. Now, you can purchase a practice exam for $50 on our website itself. This practice exam is 50 questions long, and it's timed, and it provides diagnosis at the end, and you can take it as many times as you want. So it's really good for, I like using it as a baseline, And you can take the exam, the practice exam, see how you feel, see what questions you need to study up more on, go study for it using other material, and then come back and take it again to see if you improved, if there's any gaps that you're still missing. And it's really good for seeing where you are now and where you can improve. Now, there's practice exams for each exam available. I'm just gonna go over to like other disciplines. And when you're on here, I go out to your cart. And one of the things that we provide with me being an ambassador here is that you can go to check out. Don't look at my address, guys, please. And you can use to pay a card here, but you can also put in the promo code Bama Engineering, and you'll get this $50 practice exam for $50 off. Right? You can do the math yourself. By putting this promo code, you at least get a practice exam that you can use for any of your future practices. And be aware, once you get it, you have it. It's not going to expire on you ever. So if you choose to get it now, while it's still available. And this is just a resource that you can have that's allocated to you from NCBS. If you have any other questions, you can come up and ask me. I have more goodies. Please take some. I have pens. I have squish balls. I have these USB cards. And I think that's all, really. Thank you.
Does anyone need the QR code for attendance?